Welcome to Jackie's Groove. Come journey with us through the rhythm of the music business with your host, Jackie Bertoni.
Good afternoon, everybody. This is Jackie Bertoni. You are tuned into Jackie's Groove on this beautiful Monday, February the 8th. Actually, I'm doing the show from my studio in Las Vegas. This is the first time, so hopefully the little FCC gremlins won't interrupt anything here, but that we'll make the best of it, of course. I'm really, really, really honored today to sit with my dear friend of 25-plus years. He is an amazing composer, guitarist, arranger, an all-around great guy, just a beautiful man, a beautiful heart. I want everybody to welcome with open arms and open ears to Mr. Terry-Wollman. Terry, good afternoon, and welcome to Jackie's Groove.
Hi, Jackie. Thank you so much. Really happy to be on your new show with you.
Yeah, we're going to have a good time. Terry, you know, out of all of the years that you've been doing interviews and so on, I'm going to try, and we've been accomplishing the fact that we're breaking the mold from not the cookie-cutter questions that everybody who is interviewing that are non-musicians. Well, in this case, I'm a musician, and I want to ask questions to my brothers and sisters in the industry. The questions that only we as musicians and touring musicians and studio musicians would understand. And the whole idea of Jackie's Groove is to bring the listeners backstage in the green room behind the velvet rope. So, and the transition of this whole interview is going to be based upon your beginnings, where you're heading to, where you're at, and where we are in the music business as a whole, and your feelings and your gear, your endorsements, et cetera, blah, blah, blah. So with that said, I know you're from Miami. Why don't you go ahead and tell the listeners, Terry, and enlighten them on your humble beginnings?
Well, first of all, I love that we get to take an inside look at all of our lives. I think it's a really interesting way to share our point of view and what our journeys have been like with our fellow musicians and friends and fans. So
absolutely.
So I'm ready for some fun with you. And yeah, I was born and raised in Miami. By the time I was in first grade, it was an oddity to have been born and raised in Miami. You know, when at the first day of class, when everybody would raise their hands and their tiny little voices and say their name and say where they were from. There were very few people, even at that point, that were born in my hometown. I found that kind of odd. But there were, lots of transplants, and of course, my parents transplanted from Brooklyn and Mount Clemens, Michigan. So, I got lucky. As far as the geographical lottery, that to have grown up in a really beautiful semi-tropical city that was. That exposed me to beautiful weather and scenery and a healthy outdoor lifestyle, but also from culture and music and art from around the world. So my early influences were everything from Caribbean and Cuban to American pop music and R&B and soul music, the stuff that we all heard on the radio, even, old, late night radio, pre-FM radio, there was on the AM radio stations were some very cool after dark shows with the DJs they'd all talk in a real low voice and and it would be, but they'd play the coolest things, I remember, past my bedtime, my older brother Scott used to wake me up when cool things were on the radio and sneak into my room, and that's the first time I heard Sex Machine by Sly and the Family Stone. Just late night AM radio in Miami.
How old were you?
Geez, when did that song come out? It had to have been in the early. It would have been somewhere in the late '60s.
Right.
The Vietnam War and Woodstock and all the things that were going on. That's what I'm reminded of right now. So it would have been the late 60s.
Terry, unlike me, I didn't grow up in a musical family. I grew up with a family that loved music, as I stated before in my multiple interviews, that I grew up in my father being Italian, my mother being Armenian, but both born and raised in America. But we grew up listening to the sounds of Celia Cruz and Willie Colon and the Fania All-Stars. My mom and dad were known for their salsa parties once a month, and where I would sprinkle salt on the floor of the garage so people would be able to dance and sashay to that. So the fact of the matter is, not having any true cousins, sisters, brothers that were musicians, I learned my musical roots from listening to albums, obviously. And I can't tell you how many times I've ruined an album by moving the needle back and forth.
Yeah.
Now, with that said, are you from a musical family itself, or are you the lone survivor?
I'm kind of the oddball out in that I'm really the only artist in the family. I come from a family of educators and teachers, and but I have two brothers. My younger brother does play drums. He doesn't do it professionally, but he's a talented guy and loves it. He's more self-taught, where I'm the one who packed myself up and put myself through music school, on my own. And so we didn't really have a strong musical upbringing in our family. We had a couple of records that my parents played, and one of them was The Stripper, and which was just this instrumental version of some striptease song. It was great. It was really cool. Kind of I recall it being like a big band thing, or at least there was a tenor sax. But we had that, and there was a couple of comedy records that they would play. The ones with the First Family is what it was called, with a spoof on the Kennedy family and Khrushchev and Castro, and so they were sort of cultural comedy albums. But we didn't, they had the radio on, when we would go swimming, just AM radio. We had a pool,
right.
Most pools were like, every third house had a pool. And so if you weren't in your own, you were in somebody else's. So we were always hearing music, but I didn't really have that much of anybody. I had an uncle, my Uncle Len. He did play the violin and some organ, and, ended up giving me a vihuela, which was great. I still have it, and I've played it on a couple of my records just for colors. And but no, I just kind of did it on my own. We were exposed to music lessons, which was kind of the thing that a lot of families did in the 60s, and
right.
Made your kids take piano lessons and guitar lessons and whatever. So we did that, and we were kind of forced to do it, and it wasn't really the best experience for me, because I was always curious about making up songs. I didn't realize, but early on I was leaning towards composing and writing, or wanting to figure out, as an arranger and producer that that I am,
right.
that I've trained to do and love doing. When I started studying piano, the first thing I did was figured out the chords to Let It Be, and I know we all have a Beatles influence, but mine was, I was more interested in that than what was on the paper. I was certainly happy to be learning to read music and open those doors up, but the teachers that I had, unfortunately, were limited in going off the script. So they didn't really encourage me to make up things or try things or experiment.
Right.
And so it wasn't my early experiences with studying guitar and piano and even drums. I took drum lessons for a year, which was basically, and that was really fun. I loved it. I had to really prove myself to my parents that I really wanted to learn drums, because they didn't want drums in the house. I don't know about your folks, with you being a drummer, but for me, they didn't want loud instruments. They wanted it a little bit quieter, because there was 3 boys in the family, so it was already plenty loud with all the yelling and goofing around and all the stuff that we did. So I was on a practice pad for a year. Yeah, before they even let me get a snare. Sure.
Am I hearing the fact that you were not originally a guitar player? What was your main instrument? Was it a keyboard at first?
I started on guitar. It was my first instrument, and then went to piano, and then, or might have done drum second, went to piano third, and then clarinet in junior high school. I really wanted to learn the trumpet, but that was another loud instrument that they steered me away from. So I ended up playing clarinet for a year, and that was not my instrument. The others I had a natural inclination for, but I definitely was not a good clarinet player, but it was a great experience. So I did start on guitar, and I ended up, when I was 15, I lived in Mexico City with my dad and my older brother for 6 months, which was a remarkable experience. And I ended up buying a Mexican nylon string guitar, and that's where I really started to get serious or focused on essentially choosing an instrument. I still studied piano.
Okay, Terry, I'm going to interrupt real quick, brother boy.
Sure.
We're going to wind down this first segment, heading into the second segment and stuff. We're going to pick up where your influences came from at that time. But in the meantime, you're listening to Jackie's Groove. This is Jackie Bertoni, and it's brought to you by Internet Talk Radio, your entertainment insider and the leading voice of music talk. Stay tuned, and we'll be back here momentarily.
Are you serious about your music? Are you ready to run with the big dogs? The experts at Pitbull Audio have the gear to get you into the game. From leading manufacturers like Mesa Boogie, Fender, Pioneer, and American Audio. To sound your best, you need the best. Pitbull Audio can deliver in rehearsal, on stage, and into the big time. Dropping beats, shredding guitar, or making the crowd roar. Whatever you dream, Pitbull Audio can help make it happen. We are Pitbull Audio. We want you to play it loud. PitbullAudio.com.
Thank you for listening to WS Radio. Improve your business and your life with useful information from experts and thought leaders. WS Radio is radio with ROI.
The richness of your life is reflected in the shimmering elegance found at Diolune Design. One-of-a-kind jewelry and pieces from Cynthia Dillon in silver and gold help to express your unique personality. The flowing designs of her creations will empower the way you move throughout your day. Join us online at DIOLUNdesigns.com.
Hey, it's Catherine from Listen Local Radio. Moe's Guitars has proudly served the San Diego music community since 1975. Specializing in guitars, basses, mandolins, banjos, and ukuleles, they buy, sell, trade, and consign. If you're looking for lessons, repairs, accessories, and cool gear, you found the right place. Located in downtown La Mesa Village, stop by and check out their digs or visit moesguitars.com or their Facebook page. mozeguitars.com, 619-698-1185.
In the military, things can change in an instant. At Navy Mutual Aid Association, we understand because it's our life too. That's why our dedication to serving the life insurance needs of our military veterans and their families is unrivaled. Navy Mutual offers superior life insurance protection without military service restrictions and limitations. A single focus on providing the peace of mind military families are looking for. That's what we do. Navy Mutual, insuring those who serve. Call 800-628-6011 or go to NavyMutual.org.
Hi, this is Rob Barnett, CEO and founder of VinVillage.com and the Wine and Dine Show on Vin Village Radio. Do you have a wine, event, product, or service to promote? Then contact VinVillage.com to reach thousands of wine lovers across the country. VinVillage connects like-minded wine enthusiasts with unique and exclusive wines, events, products, and services. To learn more, contact us on VinVillage.com. VinVillage is where wine lovers connect. Hi, this is Rob Barnett, VinVillage.com, where wine lovers connect. Be sure to tune in weekly to Vin Village Radio for exclusive in-depth interviews with the who's who in wine and food.
Welcome to Jackie's Groove. Come journey with us through the rhythm of the music business with your host, Jackie Bertoni.
Good Tuesday afternoon, everybody. This is Jackie Bertoni, and you are tuned into Jackie's Groove. And I'm going to say this correctly, brought to you by EnterTalkRadio.com, my employer, your entertainment insider and the leading voice of music talk. We left off on the first segment talking to my dear friend, an amazing guitarist, composer, arranger, you name it. He's an all-around good guy. Please welcome again back on the second segment, Mr. Terry-Wollman. Terry, say hello.
Hey, Jackie. Good to be back with you. And producer.
And producer. Well, get there. Don't. This is my show, Terry. Let me just go at my pace, okay?
I'll take it.
Oh, there you go. And Terry, we left off on the first segment. We talked about what you played, your original instrument, and so on and so forth. We didn't touch on, and we are going to touch on now. What are your inspirations musically at that time, at that young age?
You know, my biggest music inspirations at the really young age, I'd have to say, were soul music, surprisingly, and soul and what later became R&B. But part of that was because my parents owned a summer camp in northern Florida. They co-owned it with 3 other couples. So every summer we would be up in Ocala. It was called Camp Ocala, National Park in Florida, and because they owned it, we would go up there like a week or so early with them while they were getting everything ready. So the whole staff was there. And a lot of the staff, particularly in the kitchen, I don't even know why. It might have just been because of the area that we were in, but it was predominantly black staff, kitchen help, cooks and waiters. And basically, I would end up hanging out with all of them, and they'd let me play basketball with them, during their breaks and shoot hoops and everything. And while we would be hanging out and playing basketball, they thought it was cool that a little kid wanted to get in the game with them. They were, blasting the music that they loved. And I really enjoyed it. I had such a great experience that was connected to all that music. It was energetic and sweaty and soulful so really, I think it just got under my skin at an early age.
And that's a good thing, though. That's other than the standard, the pop, and especially our age. We're very close to the same age itself. So what our influences were, we had to go to where we wanted to be musically, I believe.
Sure.
And it's and the cool thing about the whole situation with this, Terry, I mean, it's like, at that age when you're in Miami and your inspirations were R&B and soul music. What led you? What grade were you in? Were you in elementary? Were you middle school? Were you high school? That actually led you to the promised land called Berklee School of Music in Boston. Tell us about your travels there, your journey to Berklee.
That was after high school. In high school I started. As I mentioned, I lived in Mexico for 6 months, and that's when I actually I chose an instrument. In other words, I decided to my dad had given me some very good worldly advice about life, and he basically, it was the you better shit or get off the pot reference. So basically you can be mediocre at a lot of things, or you can be great at a few things, and why don't you think about what you want to do with your life and focus on it. And that had to do with instruments also. So I got serious about guitar. And by serious, I mean focused on that. And then it was, in high school, I had a great music teacher, Sam Harris, different Sam Harris than the singer. But he played percussion, actually, in the Miami Symphony, in the Philharmonic. Cool. And he also was very involved in ending world hunger, in the Hunger Project. And he's he went on to move to Washington, D.C. and commit his life to world economics and hunger issues. So he was a great influence on me. I'm still in touch with him. But even my math teacher, John Shaw, played the bagpipes, and he
cool.
taught me how to play the bagpipes, and basically how to not hyperventilate when you're filling up the bag and just fun things like that. So I got really exposed to it. But I was also what led me to Berkeley was the Bee Gees, believe it or not.
Really?
They were living in Miami. A lot of things were going in Miami at the time. Fleetwood Mac was recording down there at Criteria Studios, and Crosby, Stills and Nash, and I think Neil Young at the time. But they were down there. The Eagles were down there recording with Bill Zimzik. There were amazing things that I knew about, and I peripherally was exposed to.
Very cool.
Because I knew people at Criteria Recording Studio. I had done some recording there, and so we got to be around the energy, and I got to meet a few of these artists, but I got to know the producer and engineer for the Bee Gees. It was Carl Richardson who was the engineer, and Albie Gluten was the producer, and I just wanted to do what he was doing, which was making records, writing horn and string arrangements, playing guitar and keyboards on albums and doing all this work. And I got to know him, and he basically had gone to Berkeley. And the thing that Albie said to me was, he said, "Do you know what the kick drum and the bass do? How do they work together?" And I said, I don't know. He goes, "You need to go to Berkeley." He said, "That's where I went. You should go there." I was thinking that I was going to stay in Miami and continue studying there because the music school there was amazing at the University of Miami. And but that's all I needed to hear. When he
Terry,
said that, yeah.
No, I'm sorry. As I asked Al Di Meola in my last broadcast about his alumni itself, if you can reach back in your back pocket or in your memory, who was your alumni back then that is doing great things today like yourself?
Oh, boy, that's an interesting question. When I first got there, John Robinson, JR, and also Neil Steubenhouse were just getting ready to fly the coop and move to L.A. But they were like the big deal then. I didn't really know them. I mean, we've since become friends and record together, but so they were like a step ahead of me. Interestingly enough, a step behind me were some amazing people like Mindy Hebert and Abe Laboriel Jr. Abe Sr. went there, right before I got there as well, or a few years before me. Greg Manning was there, but it's so interesting. There's a lot of the people that I went to school with. I can't really. I'm a little embarrassed to say, but I can't really think of anybody that was in class with me that really just absolutely took off. A lot of people quit, and went on to become very well known. At the school, they'd go there for a semester or two, and then they would just, fly. Somebody would pick them up. I was there for 3 years. I completed my degree, though. It's a 4-year bachelor's degree there, but I got it done in 3 because I transferred some credits and worked really hard. And
beautiful.
And since I was taking out student loans and really, I was on my own in every way. My dad had died when I was 17, and my mom was not in a position really financially to help. She was she was supportive of my dream and supported me in that way. But I literally was on my own, and so because of that, taking out loans and working, gigging at night, and teaching, and all the things that I was doing, I wanted to get out of there as quickly as I could, and learn as much as I could as well. I wasn't trying to rush the experience, but I was just I had to be practical. So, go.
Let me just jump in. You mentioned a little while ago one of your buddies, John J.R. Robinson. Actually, I've got John coming on the show. I'm really, really proud on April the 4th. That's definitely something you want to tune into, being the world's most recorded drummer, of course.
Yeah,
and
he's really got a lot of great stories, too.
Amazing. And that's the cool thing about Jackie's Groove. Like, if you're really liking and loving what you're hearing right now with Terry and my other guest, I want you to tune in next Monday, February 15th, when I'm going to welcome my good buddy of mine, Ricardo, better known as Tiki Pasillas, and he's a multi-percussionist, currently working with Arturo Sandoval, and is known with Mark Anthony, and also this unknown girl by the name of Jennifer Lopez. He's a great guest. And then on February 22nd, my brother in crime, Bobby Figueroa, who is the Beach Boys drummer from 1975, who actually took over Dennis Wilson, then his demise. And he's playing with the Beach Boys and Al Jardine. And then following up the end of the show, end of the month, is Todd Circuitman, my best brother from Styx, as the drummer itself. So we're going to wind down this section number 2 and head into section number 3. I'm going to introduce to everybody who doesn't know Terry's music. I want you guys to put your ears to the speakers, and I want you to get a vibe that I've always had from the time I met Henry. When I met Terry through Henry, my buddy. We'll talk about that on section 3 and all of our relations and since that time, and oddly enough, our parallel paths that have crossed. It's interesting. So definitely stick around, listen to this third segment. It's only going to get better, I promise you. I will not waste your time, and I will definitely enlighten you even more. So we'll be back right after these short messages, and we'll be talking to my buddy Terry-Wollman. And again, you're tuned into Jackie's Groove, and this is Jackie Bertoni, brought to you by EnterTalkRadio.com, your entertainment insider and the leading voice of music talk. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Are you serious about your music? Are you ready to run with the big dogs? The experts at Pitbull Audio have the gear to get you into the game. From leading manufacturers like Mesa Boogie, Fender, Pioneer, and American Audio. To sound your best, you need the best. Pitbull Audio can deliver in rehearsal, on stage, and into the big time. Dropping beats, shredding guitar, or making the crowd roar. Whatever you dream, Pitbull Audio can help make it happen. We are Pitbull Audio. We want you to play it loud. PitbullAudio.com.
On the internet, your business's reputation can be unjustly destroyed in an instant. Don't wait for that to happen. Building and marketing your 5-star reputation can increase your business by as much as 19%. Take control of your reputation and have the 5-star reputation you deserve with Reputation Marketing Solutions by DSI Development. Become the go-to company by visiting 5starrepmarketing.com. The number 5starrepmarketing.com.
Has your business been appified? Are you tired of doing marketing that doesn't deliver results? Mobile apps build loyalty and quality retention. Your app from UPG Mobile puts your business on their mind and at their fingertips. UPG Mobile will give you a custom app highlighting how you are unique, targeting your message, and improving your open rates. Appify your business and amplify your presence with your customers at upgmobilemarketinggroup.com.
One person has the power to change the world, impact millions of lives, and leave a legacy for lifetimes to come. That person is you. In the New York Times bestseller, What is Your What? Steve Olsher, award-winning author and founder of the Reinvention Workshop, reveals his proven process that has helped thousands of men and women discover, share, and monetize the one thing they were born to do. Grab your free copy now at www.whatisyourwhat.com/free. That's www.whatisyourwhat.com/free.
Take a break from politics. Tune in and learn something. WS Radio shows are worth your time and are filled with tips and advice. Add us to your lunch routine, and we'll give you a meal for your mind.
This is Bill Gruber with BizVid Communications, a Southern California video production leader. We've been honored to sponsor, produce, write, and host many of the fine programs on WS Radio over the years. So we understand how important the internet and your website exposure are. As video producers, we know the tricks and secrets to incorporate video to increase your search engine optimization and business success. Visit bizvidcommunications.com to see what we can do for you. BIZVID communications.com.
Welcome to Jackie's Groove. Come journey with us through the rhythm of the music business with your host, Jackie Bertoni.
That's absolutely majestic, extraordinary, and charismatic Mr. Terry-Wollman on guitar, and a beautiful song penned by our employer at one time or the other, Mr. Michael McDonald, and his beautiful classical hit called Our Love. And it's amazing, Terry, when you think about our longevity as friends and how we've crossed paths. And if I can share with the listeners itself how you and I actually came to meet. And if you don't remember, I'll go ahead and I'll fill you in. Terry, out of his amazing career, and he was musical director on an NBC broadcast back in the early 90s with the great comedian by the name of Byron Allen. I don't know how long that series ran, but it was on NBC, and it was on after The Tonight Show.
We were on for 3 years.
3 years, and that's where we met, because I was working with Donny Osmond on that show on the Eyes Don't Lie tour. And that's where you and I had met. And and what a stellar band. You had Luis Conte on percussion, if I remember correctly.
Yes, yeah.
And who was on drums?
Kevin Cloud was on drums, and the sub was Ricky Lawson and Jonathan Moffat. That's when I first started playing with Ricky as well. And then on bass, the first year was Nathan East, and then he got really busy, and so Abraham Laboriel Sr. came in and did the next 2 years. And Gerald Albright on sax, and Mark Hugenberger on keyboards, myself on guitar. And I was so very proud of that band. That was a TV band to be reckoned with.
Absolutely. It was pretty amazing, because from not too long after that, you were involved with my current girls, our lady bosses, when you actually took over the helm as the MD of this unknown girl band called Wilson Phillips. And
three young ladies.
And you jumped on that bandwagon at the perfect time itself. I mean, here these girls took the industry by storm, and going once again parallel-wise, our friend JR played drums on the first two albums and all the major hits itself. So let's talk about that, Terry, of you not being the leader. Let's talk about you being a hired grunt, the side man, or the musical director. Explain to the listeners exactly what your duties were with Wilson Phillips.
Well, with Wilson Phillips, I was not just the side man, but I was their music director and guitar player. Right. And we had two guitars in the band, two keyboard players, bass, drums, and 3 other singers, so 6 singers in total. It was a large group. My job was to basically be the point of focus for the girls and be the liaison between Glenn Ballard, who was their co-writer producer, who was the one who had recommended me, and also with their management company and with the record label and with the girls and the musicians. I basically was the one who had to keep everybody on course, clearly deliver information, to everybody who needed it. And sometimes that was, I'd have to say that was probably the most difficult part of the job, because sometimes I ended up having to be the messenger of information that people didn't really want to hear, but it's the truth, and I speak the truth. And so that's the only way I know how to work. So, but my job also was to handle all the arrangements for the band. To cast the band, to put it together. They did not allow me. The management company insisted on me holding open rehearsals, even though I had some people that I wanted them to consider. But that's the way they wanted to do it, and we did do that. And we saw some really incredible musicians, and then narrowed it down with the help of the girls and the management company. I basically made my recommendations, and casting, music directing and producing records is it's interesting in that you really need to find the magic between not just one talented player, but a collective of individuals that are uniquely talented and complicated, that will gel together, people that will complement each other, people that will be excited to make music together, and people that will be easy to travel and live with. So basically, it was a lot of those things, and my goal was to honor the arrangements and sound that they so cleverly and carefully put together, with the use of musicians like J.R. and Neil Steubenhouse and some, remarkable people at the helm of Glenn Ballard, and they did some really amazing work, and I didn't see any reason to change it profoundly in any way, except to do my best to recreate live what they had done in the studio. And the part of what I really dug about the girls, Carney and Wendy and China, was that they were insistent on not using any kind of samplers or loops or recordings. And that's when that was starting to get not just popular, but a prominent part of how tours were put together, because production was so elaborate, and with singing and dancing, choreography, everything, a lot of bands were using support, pre-recorded support, and they were absolutely insistent on no tracks. So,
Terry, it's funny, during that time itself, I was working with CNC Music Factory and also Stevie B, in which that was the big time that Milli Vanilli got busted or called out, for the lack of the better term. So when we would do these major tours at the Universal Amphitheater and the like, they, in all the advertising, they would have to say live to track is how they would have to position it. Even though we were playing live on stage, we did have strings in the background and so on. That was recommended and required. But, talking about the girls itself, I have been really, really fortunate to work with the girls lately, and hopefully you can agree with me, the fact that these guys, I call them these guys, these girls are probably the most non-egotistical, easiest to people to work with on stage. Their voices are better now, personally speaking, than they were when you were working with them. In fact, you just hung out with them last year. You hung out with them at Cerritos Performing Arts Center. Did you play, or just didn't go there as a joke?
No, I didn't play. I just came to surprise them. Troy Dexter, one of our other dear friends, is in the band, and he thought it'd be fun to see if I could show up to one of the concerts and just surprise the girls. And the girls, they're grown women now, and they're lovely, and it was so great to see them, and they sounded better than ever. I agree with you. I'm very proud of them. I don't
Think
have
of
a
their
lot to
musical
do with that,
genes.
but they're really, they're destined to do this, the three of them together, the way they grew up, and they're really, carrying the torch for their own music and for both of their family's music, with the Mamas and the Papas and the Beach Boys, and it's great. It's really great, and I love that they are embracing that now. They're doing a couple of songs, from their parents' catalog, and that was really fun to hear also. It was great to see
when you were working with them back at that time, obviously playing all the hits, but as opposed to moving fast forward into the recent years that I've been working for the last 2 years, they had an album, a successful album called Dedicated, which was dedicated to the songs of the Beach Boys, Brian Wilson and the Mamas and the Papas. Were you able to play when you were working with them? Were they strictly with their music, or were they playing any of their parents' songs at that time when you were working with them?
No, strictly the hits, and they had plenty of them. So we just went from their catalog, and had to narrow down. We couldn't even do everything that we wanted, but we put a great show together, and did all their obvious singles, but we also did some of the songs that were not getting the same amount of radio play, but were still really very cool pieces of music and important to them. Yeah.
And what's really cool is the fact that we are already going into the fourth segment here on Jackie's Groove. And again, it's brought to you by EnterTalkRadio.com, your entertainment insider and the leading voice of music talk. We're talking to my very close friend, my buddy, Terry-Wollman. We've got a lot more to come up on this next hour of the show itself, but when we get back, we'll pick up where we left off. And I also want to talk about your lady, Melanie Taylor, and hopefully she'll be here with us soon real quick when she gets back off tour with Barry Manilow. We'll be right back after a little while. Stay tuned for this next segment, and we'll pick up where we left off on Jackie's Groove. Stay tuned.
Are you serious about your music? Are you ready to run with the big dogs? The experts at Pitbull Audio have the gear to get you into the game. From leading manufacturers like Mesa Boogie, Fender, Pioneer, and American Audio. To sound your best, you need the best. Pitbull Audio can deliver in rehearsal, on stage, and into the big time. Dropping beats, shredding guitar, or making the crowd roar. Whatever you dream, Pitbull Audio can help make it happen. We are Pitbull Audio. We want you to play it loud. PitbullAudio.com.
On the internet, your business's reputation can be unjustly destroyed in an instant. Don't wait for that to happen. Building and marketing your 5-star reputation can increase your business by as much as 19%. Take control of your reputation and have the 5-star reputation you deserve with Reputation Marketing Solutions by DSI Development. Become the go-to company by visiting 5starrepmarketing.com. The number 5starrepmarketing.com.
Attention business owners. Does it feel like your business owns you? See if you qualify for a free 90-minute business coaching session to help you build a business, not a job. During this free 90-minute strategic consultation, one of our senior coaches will help you map out the best way to grow your company and get your life back. To learn more, go to MauiMasterminds.com/scale now. That's MauiMasterminds.com/scale now.
I raised $8,000 to build schools for South African children. After realizing how many people go hungry in San Diego, I now volunteer at a food pantry.
I'm spending the next year doing volunteer projects across 3 countries and helping in ways they designate to be the most helpful.
The World Link program at the Joan B. Kroc Institute for Peace and Justice recognizes the potential of youth as agents of social change. Learn how you can help youth become a generation of leaders in action at peace.sandiego.edu.
Hey, it's Catherine from Listen Local Radio. Moe's Guitars has proudly served the San Diego music community since 1975. Specializing in guitars, basses, mandolins, banjos, and ukuleles, they buy, sell, trade, and consign. If you're looking for lessons, repairs, accessories, and cool gear, you found the right place. Located in downtown La Mesa Village, stop by and check out their digs or visit moesguitars.com or their Facebook page. mozeguitars.com, 619-698-1185.
Which sandwich is healthy and tasty? Which sandwich can come on bread or in a bowl? Which sandwich comes 51 different ways, so it's always your way. A which sandwich. Stop into our shop in Hazard Center. We're upstairs from the Hazard Center Digiplex. Bring in your movie ticket. We will add a free drink and chips to your sandwich order. Or order online at which.com, and we will have it ready and waiting. WHICH. Which.com.
Jackie's Groove. Come journey with us through the rhythm of the music business with your host, Jackie Bertoni.
Once again, you're tuned into Jackie's Groove. Hey, everybody, this is Jackie Bertoni, and we are talking to my very close friend, an amazing guitarist, producer, composer, arranger, Mr. Terry-Wollman. And again, this is all brought to you by Internet Talk Radio, EnterTalk Radio, your entertainment insider and leading voice of music talk. And I want to put a special thank you to our sponsors out there that are responsible for bringing us on the air. Our friends Pitbull Audio at www.pitbullaudio.com, where they want you to play it loud. And someone Terry and I are very close to, SIR, Studio Instrument Rentals at sir-usa.com, and our friends at Showslinger at showslinger.com. Say that 5 times fast, please.
I can.
And when we took off on segment 4, we're back into 5 right now. I can't believe we're already at the 1 hour mark. We started talking about your lady. I call her your wife, and you laugh all the time, but it's only a matter of time. My dear friend, in which we, speaking of crossing paths once again, I knew her prior to you knowing her when I had a band called Talk of the Town, and when this beautiful sister that was singing background vocals, that's how Melanie and I met. And like Melanie said, hey, we did pretty well for ourselves as we got on. And Melanie... Melanie, if I can boast for her again, she'll be on show once she gets back. We can schedule her for Jackie's Groove. But Melanie's legacy goes back for years with Bette Midler as one of the Harlettes. Also with John Mayer and this unknown group called Aerosmith. That's the group Aerosmith.
Yeah, and also Joe Walsh recently.
And Joe Walsh recently. Yeah. Again, someone I played with also, too. The last song we ended with was Obrigado, which is so beautiful. And Terry, my God, I miss playing with you. And I hear that that sound of guitar. It's amazing. But there's been so many cool things that you've done recently. Why don't you go ahead? I want you to share with the audience what you've done of late itself, and somebody that we grew up with that I'm a big fan of, and her voice and so on. You just finished up and produced, correct me if I'm wrong, Melissa Manchester, and with Dick Van Dyke, one of the greatest voices. I think he just celebrated his 90th birthday. So
he did. He just
I'm going to
turned
step
90.
back.
Yeah,
I'm going to step back. I'm going to let you take over. I'm going to let you talk about the succession of Melanie and Melissa and Dick Van Dyke and your beautiful album, 25 years of best of, called The Silver Collection. Go ahead, Terry.
Yeah. Thank you. Well, it's been a remarkable year, especially with me as a producer and arranger as well as guitar player. And it started by co-producing Melanie Taylor's album. That was at the urging of our friend Dave Koz, because we were going out on to perform on one of his Dave Koz and Friends at Sea Cruises, and he wanted to make sure Melanie was selling her record in the artist gift shop, and it was a record that she hadn't done yet. So we got one done and brought it out on the cruise last year. Which, by the way, we're going to be leaving in a couple weeks to go on the next one, which is in the Caribbean with them. We're both really excited about that. So I love performing as an artist on the Dave Koz cruises. If you haven't been, it's a remarkable collection of musicians and beautiful places with an amazing host. And so anyway, we finished Melanie's record, and then I went on to, while I was also putting my Silver Collection 25-year retrospective album together, I was co-producing with Melissa her record. This is Melissa Manchester's 20th record, and it's called You Gotta Love the Life. And I'm so proud of it for many reasons, but the main reason is because it's her first full album, excuse me, as an independent artist. So she's been under the wing of Clive Davis and Arista and record labels her whole life. She's 19 records before that, and this 20th one, I clipped her wings and let her soar, and it was just great to help her realize her vision of her point of view as a really fully formed artist and woman and great singer. So we did some remarkable things, including bringing in some guests, including Al Jarreau, Joe Sample, Dionne Warwick, Dave Koz, Stevie Wonder came in and played harmonica, and the band was stellar. And I had a blast. I ended up playing guitar and mandolin on even some lap steel guitar on a few things. So on a few, cool. About half the songs. So I'm very, very proud of that one. And this Silver Collection record was just a really fascinating journey through the last 25 years of me making records. My first record, Bimini, that I released as an artist is in 1988. Abraham Laboriel played bass on it, and he still plays on all of my records. There's a lot of long-time friendships and musical and personal friendships that have just really thrived, and we get to express it through these records, and it makes me very, very happy. As a matter of fact, there's the new single, the latest single from the record, Survive, we released it on my birthday back on October 20th, and it's still climbing the charts. It's on Billboard charts and Media Base and Smooth Jazz top. We're getting close to the top 20 right now with the Alan Kepler's charts, and it's just beautiful. I'm so excited about that. And additionally, I had the extreme pleasure of arranging and producing a recording session that was filmed with Dick Van Dyke just pretty recently, and it's for a documentary that is about people that are in their 80s and 90s and 100s that are living vital, amazing, fun, fascinating lives. And he was one of the people in the movie that got interviewed, and the director of the movie, Danny Gold, who I've done I did a play with him last year that I music directed, and Jason Alexander was the director of that play. So,
what was the title?
When You're in Love, the Whole World is Jewish.
I love it.
It's great, and it's based on a comedies album from the '60s of the same title, or I believe the title is Everybody's Jewish, but it's a sort of a vaudeville slapstick musical, and that was really fun to do. But through that, I developed a working. Actually, a personal friendship with the producer that played Danny Gold, and when he was working with Dick Van Dyke, he just had this idea that it would really be fun to take him in the recording studio. So Danny called me and asked if that was something I thought I could do. Could I do an arrangement and put the band together? And we ended up doing that, and we went to Capitol, and I brought in John Robinson and Nathan East and
that will be
who
in the
else
next
is in
segment.
it?
That'll be on the next segment itself, because there's a pretty interesting photograph also. We'll be right back on this next. On the segment itself on Jackie's Groove. This is Jackie Bertoni. We're going to be back with Terry Wollman and some more interesting information and tidbits. And I want to talk about his illustrious discography also. So we'll be right back. This is Jackie Bertoni. You're tuned in to Jackie's Groove. Stay tuned.
Are you serious about your music? Are you ready to run with the big dogs? The experts at Pitbull Audio have the gear to get you into the game. From leading manufacturers like Mesa Boogie, Fender, Pioneer, and American Audio. To sound your best, you need the best. Pitbull Audio can deliver in rehearsal, on stage, and into the big time. Dropping beats, shredding guitar, or making the crowd roar. Whatever you dream, Pitbull Audio can help make it happen. We are Pitbull Audio. We want you to play it loud. PitbullAudio.com.
Progressive Medical.
Hey, this is Heidi Rue, and you know, Progressive Medical Center has literally changed my life and my health, but I'm not the only one. Adele suffered from bone deterioration, bone overgrowth, profound muscle discomfort, physical exhaustion, and mental fog. In fact, the bone deterioration becomes so serious that she had to have back surgery. Well, after the surgery, she still didn't feel well, and so that's when she heard about Progressive Medical Center. Progressive Medical Center discovered that her adrenals weren't working properly, her hormones were out of whack, and the drugs she had been taking were doing more harm than good. Adele came into Progressive Medical Center in a walker, physically and mentally exhausted. But now she's a world traveler. She hikes and walks several miles a day, and it's all thanks to Progressive Medical Center. 770-676-6000. 770-676-6000.
Progressive Medical. This is your life. Live it well.
Take a break from politics. Tune in and learn something. WS Radio shows are worth your time and are filled with tips and advice. Add us to your lunch routine, and we'll give you a meal for your mind.
Do you want to be a professional coach? Are you in business trying to make a real difference with people you manage or work with? Have you started a coaching practice that isn't quite getting off the ground? Get the skills you need to be a successful coach today with the Coaches Training Program from Accomplishment Coaching. The Coaches Training Program will show you how to help others focus and be more fulfilled. Whether you want to improve your company's bottom line or create a thriving coaching practice, Accomplishment Coaching can give you the distinctions and practices you need to coach others effectively today. Accomplishment Coaching has spent 6 years developing a cutting-edge coaches training program that will have you ready to coach people professionally in just 12 months, and you don't have to take time off work to do it. To find out more about the Coaches Training Program, just call 1-888-548-6813. That's 1-888-548-6813.
Hi, this is Rob Barnett, VinVillage.com, where wine lovers connect. Be sure to tune in weekly to Vin Village Radio for exclusive, in-depth interviews with the who's who in wine and food.
Jackie's Groove. Come journey with us through the rhythm of the music business with your host, Jackie Bertoni.
Welcome back, everybody. This is Jackie Bertoni. You're tuned into Jackie's Groove, brought to you by EnterTalkRadio.com, your entertainment insider and your leading voice of music talk. And if you love what you're but if you love what you're listening to, please feel free to give me an email at jackiesgroove.com. And also, too, if you're loving my guest, and how could you not, Mr. Terry Wollman, please visit terry-wollman, WOLLMAN.com for everything Terry. And do yourself a favor and read his page, read his bio. How do you touch on 25 plus years in a 2-hour interview? It's impossible. But what we lack and what we lack to talk about, you can pick up and you can actually experience it on terry-wollman.com. And Terry, oddly enough, we're talking about crossing paths and friends and so on. I'm really, really proud and honored. The voiceover, the woman doing the voiceover on my intro music is actually our dear friend, our mutual friend, the voice of 94.7 The Wave, Talia Trigueros.
Yeah,
I'm
love her.
Just so blessed to have her extend her hand and to lend her voice to this project itself. And extending hands and friends that we've all crossed paths with and love. But, let's talk about something other than music for a quick second, because I know you and I and Melanie and my wife Caprice, we do love sitting down to a good meal, around town and so on.
Food.
But with that said, I want you to think back and look back. Let's talk about your favorite styles and types of food, your favorite restaurants, albeit in California, throughout the country, out of the country, overseas. Share with the people itself what is your favorite flavor, what favorite restaurants you like to go to, and what countries or cities do you prefer?
I agree. I'd love. I guess we're what they call foodies, but the art of sitting down and either cooking with friends and sharing a meal or going to someplace cool with at a restaurant where somebody really knows how to put their foot in it and cook with love and then share it with people that you love is such I guess it's a really great, beautiful adult form of entertainment and bonding and celebrating life. And so one of my favorite restaurants is in Miami, and it's Joe's Stone Crab, and it's been around forever. It's just old school waiters in tuxedos and great seafood and just it's an old really cool Miami establishment. And I got taken there a few times when I was a kid, and it was always very special because it was it was a fancy restaurant, meaning expensive, and a little bit out of our pay grade in my family. But I had a few friends, wealthier friends, and their parents were kind enough to bring me along a few times, and I always enjoyed it, and it's still one of my favorite restaurants. There's a place in Rome that when we were there 3 years ago, I took Melanie as my plus one, which was a nice change of pace because I'm usually hers. But we had joined the Dave Koz cruise for the first time in the Mediterranean, and our friend Johnny Fancini, who lives outside of Rome, wonderful sax player, he took us to his favorite restaurant, and it was down by the water where the ships come in, and it was called Il Ristorante, and he ordered everything, and it was. We sat outside, and there were plastic chairs and, a checkered plastic tablecloth, and we ate like I've never eaten before. It was just incredible. I just went out recently when Melanie was on tour with Joe Walsh, and she was in New York, but we were staying in New Jersey just a few months ago, and we found this really cool place. I wrote it down because I wanted to remember. It was in Newark, and it's called Fornos of Spain. And it was just like being in, I haven't been to Spain. So it's what I would think being in Spain was like. It was very, very authentic. And there's one other place that comes to mind, and it was in the south of France in Provence. I was there years ago for a music trade show called Meetum for a pop record that I had produced. And I don't remember the name of that restaurant, but it was walking distance from where Chagall was buried, up on top of the mountain where Provence is, and there are it's an old farmhouse, and there are actually Chagalls and Picassos and Renoirs on the wall where you're eating, and they're not covered by glass. It's amazing. But
the trust factor.
Well, yeah. Now these were paintings that were given to the restaurant by the artist because they used to stay in Provence, these artists, and live their part of the year and paint, and would go eat at this farmhouse, and
amazing.
That's how they kind of pay for their food, was they give them a painting. So, but that food was like off the hook. So it was amazing.
Terry, we all have a right hand person. We know we don't always want to say we've done this all by ourselves. There's always behind every good man, or alongside of every good man, is a good woman. But behind every good program, any good produced program, I want to bring online right now, if he's out there, my partner in crime, the CEO of EnterTalk Radio, is Florentino Benaventura. Tino, are you there, brother?
Yo, what's going on? How you doing, Terry? Good talking to you again.
Great. Thank you for having me on your show, and thank you for doing this show. It's important and fantastic.
It is. You know what? I wholeheartedly agree, because people don't get a chance to recognize the passion, the work, the sweat, the blood, sweat, and tears, all of that fun stuff that kind of goes into making of a career like yours. I was just astounded. Being able to work with Dick Van Dyke, man, I got chills. It's like, the goosebumps when I heard it.
So did we. And we've worked with a lot of people. Yes.
Yeah, so that's exciting stuff, man. And to go along with that exciting stuff, I was just telling Jackie through text, we just got an announcement about a week and a half early. We are now available on iTunes. It takes a little time to get iTunes or Apple to give you the thumbs up, and we are now available on iTunes. If you go into the iTunes store and type in EnterTalk Radio, we have an app that will be able to show all the wonderful things that Jackie is talking about. We have all the other shows that are available there, and this is a first. I literally got this news about 30 minutes ago, and I'm sharing it with you guys right now.
Congratulations!
Thank you.
Congratulations!
And also, too, talking about friends in particular. Tino is not only is a CEO of this corporation, but he's also an amazing bass player, and his friend is your friend Nathan East.
Oh,
yeah.
Wow.
Small world, right? It seems like it's so big, but there's so many different people. Nathan was one of the first guests that I had on the Changing Stage radio show. Nice. He's such a beautiful, blessed soul, and such a kind man. When just working with him has been a blessing. And I find that one of the fun things we've had is Kevin Florno, who's a keyboard player, and he's worked with a number of people. He'd never worked with Jackie, but he'd worked with so many people at times that Jackie had worked with. They got a chance through our launch party to meet together, and I think that's kind of the one of the other things too, is it's about community. I guess that's what I'm getting to.
Yes,
absolutely.
Yeah, and we have a strong community. It's a tribe. And exactly. One that I'm proud to be a part of.
I'm glad to have a feather in this tribe.
And I'm glad you're back there, Tino, back there shoveling the coal, keeping this big steamship rolling, brother, because it's only going to get bigger and better, and we're going to have to definitely gather up our resources, because Jackie's Groove is actually, it's our brainchild, but it's actually blowing up. I mean, the upcoming guests are going to be ridiculous. We'll talk more about that when we come back from this next break. And I want to talk about, we started talking earlier about Terry's accomplishments in the way of his recordings, and I want to touch on one of my favorite albums called Bimini, his first album. Great tunes. A very, very sexy shot of the album cover, of course. And God, what happened to our age? What happened to our youth, my brother? And
well, that's what all I had time to do was work out.
Yeah, at least you still have your hair, and Tino and I know what you're talking about on that. So we'll get back on this. Believe it or not, this next segment coming up, we are really winding down this time, but stay tuned. It's only going to get better. And this is Jackie Bertoni. Once again, you're tuned into Jackie's Groove, brought to you by EnterTalkRadio.com, your entertainment insider and the leading voice of music talk. Stay tuned.
Are you serious about your music? Are you ready to run with the big dogs? The experts at Pitbull Audio have the gear to get you into the game. From leading manufacturers like Mesa Boogie, Fender, Pioneer, and American Audio. To sound your best, you need the best. Pitbull Audio can deliver in rehearsal, on stage, and into the big time. Dropping beats, shredding guitar, or making the crowd roar. Whatever you dream, Pitbull Audio can help make it happen. We are Pitbull Audio. We want you to play it loud. PitbullAudio.com.
Thank you for listening to WS Radio. Improve your business and your life with useful information from experts and thought leaders. WS Radio is radio with ROI.
Do you want to be a professional coach? Are you in business trying to make a real difference with people you manage or work with? Have you started a coaching practice that isn't quite getting off the ground? Get the skills you need to be a successful coach today with the Coaches Training Program from Accomplishment Coaching. The Coaches Training Program will show you how to help others focus and be more fulfilled. Whether you want to improve your company's bottom line or create a thriving coaching practice, Accomplishment Coaching can give you the distinctions and practices you need to coach others effectively today. Accomplishment Coaching has spent 6 years developing a cutting-edge coaches training program that will have you ready to coach people professionally in just 12 months, and you don't have to take time off work to do it. To find out more about the Coaches Training Program, just call 1-888-548-6813. That's 1-888-548-6813.
In the military, things can change in an instant. At Navy Mutual Aid Association, we understand because it's our life too. That's why our dedication to serving the life insurance needs of our military veterans and their families is unrivaled. Navy Mutual offers superior life insurance protection without military service restrictions and limitations. A single focus on providing the peace of mind military families are looking for. That's what we do. Navy Mutual, insuring those who serve. Call 800-628-6011 or go to NavyMutual.org.
Hi, this is Rob Barnett, CEO and founder of VinVillage.com and the Wine and Dine Show on Vin Village Radio. Do you have a wine, event, product, or service to promote? Then contact VinVillage.com to reach thousands of wine lovers across the country. VinVillage connects like-minded wine enthusiasts with unique and exclusive wines, events, products, and services. To learn more, contact us on VinVillage.com. VinVillage is where wine lovers connect. Hi, this is Rob Barnett, VinVillage.com, where wine lovers connect. Be sure to tune in weekly to Vin Village Radio for exclusive, in-depth interviews with the who's who in wine and food.
Welcome to Jackie's Groove. Come journey with us through the rhythm of the music business with your host, Jackie Bertoni.
And that, my friend, is what Broadway shows are made of.
That took me back.
Right now with my dear friend of mine. This is Terry-Wollman. He's hanging out with Jackie Bertoni on Jackie's Groove. That was very interesting, Terry. Tell me a little bit about that song we just heard.
Well, that's the one and only Joe Sample and myself playing a duet together, and there's nobody like Joe. I had just never met anybody that approached music like him or played with him, and
God bless
you
him.
know, he was a huge influence on me as a friend and also as a musician. He was one of the first artists that I worked with when I moved to LA in 1981, and I ended up becoming Joe's assistant, you know, working on orchestrations with him and getting charts together, and ended up playing on a few songs. I played on one of their records, and just deeply, deeply influenced me. And that song was the introduction to a song I wrote called Buckwheat Shuffle that Joe played on. Joe played on my first couple of records, and but that was an intro that I had him do, and that particular one was just an outtake, and I ended up turning it into a duet and calling it Buckwheat Sample. So that's the amazing Joe Sample on
very cool
on piano.
God bless him.
Yeah,
like I said,
him.
you know, Heaven's Band is getting that much stronger. I hope they're not looking for a percussionist or a guitar player anytime soon, my friend. We've lost too many brothers, man, in this last 3 months. I don't know what's going on out there. Maybe
well, we're all getting older. That's what's going on.
Unfortunately or unfortunately, one of the two. So you know, just that's why I say my mom always said one. Yeah, my mom always said one thing: if it's not health related, it's all bullshit. So let's let's revel on waking up every day. You know, Terry, I just want to I want to name drop with you right now. Again, my favorite album out of all of your discography has always been Bimini. You know that we actually started working together at the small little jazz clubs in Orange County, and is where we hooked up to it. But you know, I mean, this album it was like a breakthrough, man. It's filled with like passionate melodies, sensual, funky grooves, you know, supported all-star cast, which includes my friends, someone you just mentioned, Mr. Joe Sample, Abe Laboriel on bass, Dean Parks, great guitar player. People don't realize that Dean is actually he's a great flautist also. Yeah, and my mentor, Paulinho da Costa, the most recorded percussionist in the history of music, and my old bosses, my dear friends, the fabulous Tower of Power Horns. What inspired you? What inspired you from Bimini itself? And tell the audience out there what Bimini is.
Bimini is the island closest to Miami in the Bahamas. So it's a Bahamian island. It's a small island, and I think it's only about 90 miles across, you know, or circumference. You can walk. You can. Actually, it might no. That sounds even bigger than it is, because I believe you can walk around the island. But it's the first island that you hit when you're leaving the coast of Florida and head to the Bahamas. So I sailed when I was younger. You know, we went to the Bahamas, and so it was always a place that I thought it was the coolest when we would reach Bimini. You know, that was a big thing, you know, sailing all night and seeing the lighthouse. So it reminded me of my tropical roots and upbringing. And, you know, the thing, you know, you're reminding me also all the people that played on my record were people that I knew. They were my friends and happened to be, you know, world-class musicians. And I knew that I wanted to add some live strings or horns, because I love arranging for strings and horns, and it was my first record, and I didn't really have the budget for strings, but my dear friend Lee Thornburg was playing in Tower of Power at the time, and I reached out to Lee, and you know, Lee talked him into to playing on my record. So I wrote 2 horn arrangements just because I knew I had them. So I thought, let me do 2 charts, and I remember I went up to, the only time that I could, you know, track them down was in San Francisco. They were touring with Rod Stewart at the time. You know, it was the late 80s. And so I went up there and went to the Rod Stewart concert at night. And I think Jeff Beck was opening. Actually, it was amazing. And then we was in the studio with them the next morning, you know, having them play down my horn charts, which was a real kick. And
at that time, did you arrange it? Did Lee arrange it? Did Greg arrange it? Because I think at the time Steve Grove was playing sax, better known as Huge Groove today.
Richard Elliott was playing with them at the time.
Oh, okay, cool. All right.
So Huge was in the group at that time. I wrote the horn arrangements, you know, which was not really typical with Tower of Power, because they would write their own arrangements. You know, Greg Adams would write them at the time, and And, my horn arranging, in addition to having gone to school and, to study arranging, but my two biggest influences were Tower of Power and Seawind with Jerry Hay. So that's where I learned the right horns, was listening to those guys and picking those
right.
Just devouring the sound of that. So Lee was the one who hooked it up. I knew Lee, and he just, again, asked everybody, and in a moment of weakness, they said yes. And we had a great time. The reason I'm joking about it is because we had a morning session. That was the only time that that they were available, and they when it was time to go do this session, they were like telling Lee, "Who's this guy again? Why are we doing this? Who is this?" And Lee said, "No, he's great. You're going to love him. He's amazing, and he's a good friend."
They may not have known you going in, but they definitely knew Terry when they left that session. I'm sure.
That's true. Yeah, that's they certainly knew me on the way out. And we've maintained friendship since then. But
they're going. They're going celebrating 50 years as an R&B funk band. It's amazing in this barometer of music. And Terry, jumping out of Bimini and opening the world's ears to your music itself, you followed up with an album that I got to say I loved also, which is called "Say Yes."
Yeah, that was fun. That's a nice one.
I just love the eclectic musical choices that you chose on that, which is an array of again, guest artists, but once again, falling back to that realm of hiring the best. Joe Sample, Abe LaBarriel, JR, my dear friend Luis Conte on sax, and again, too, the beautiful voice of Mr. Michael McDonald itself. What did you think about that album? Were you happy with it?
I was thrilled with it. You have a whole lifetime to prepare for your first record, and making, my experience making my own first record, especially producing my own records, is that you are fully accountable for every aspect of it, and if it flies or sinks, it's all on you. So
absolutely.
But you have a whole lifetime of experience and music that you've written to choose from, and so there was a narrowing down process for Bimini, and some of the songs that I really wanted to record, ironically, survive. It was one of the first instrumental songs that I wrote. Didn't really end up getting recorded until a later album, but ironically, I remastered it for my Silver Collection record, and that's my current single. So it found its time and place. But with Say Yes, I remember knowing that I was ready to do another record. I really wanted to. I had been writing a lot. I wanted to include this favorite Michael McDonald, David Pack song, Our Love, nice. and asked Michael if he wanted to sing it, and his record label didn't want him to sing. They were getting tired of him having hits on other people's labels, with all the duets. So I couldn't just do a full out vocal feature. So, but it turned out, and I'd already done the arrangement. I did a string arrangement and conducted, in Michael's key, and then ended up doing sort of a hybrid, instrumental with vocal, and it worked out. It worked out great. But I think my Say Yes record was when I started to consciously bring in a little bit more world influence in the music and in the arrangements and production.
It worked, brother.
I think that's
it definitely worked.
I think that's where that started. And I don't even know that it was conscious. I just wanted to expand. My music has always been melody-driven.
Right.
I mean, as like you said, it's funky and soulful and sexy and, all those things. And a lot has to do with the casting, the wonderful musicians that come in and record with me. And then me having a really clear vision of what I want to do with them. But I still, so I'm a real groove,
cool brother,
aficionado and groove freak. I love.
Let's talk about the groove coming up on the segment number 7. You can't believe it's blowing by this quickly itself. You're tuned into Jackie's Groove. This is Jackie Bertoni with my friend Terry Wollman. Stay tuned for the next segment.
Are you serious about your music? Are you ready to run with the big dogs? The experts at Pitbull Audio have the gear to get you into the game. From leading manufacturers like Mesa Boogie, Fender, Pioneer, and American Audio. To sound your best, you need the best. Pitbull Audio can deliver in rehearsal, on stage, and into the big time. Dropping beats, shredding guitar, or making the crowd roar. Whatever you dream, Pitbull Audio can help make it happen. We are Pitbull Audio. We want you to play it loud. PitbullAudio.com.
On the internet, your business's reputation can be unjustly destroyed in an instant. Don't wait for that to happen. Building and marketing your 5-star reputation can increase your business by as much as 19%. Take control of your reputation and have the 5-star reputation you deserve with Reputation Marketing Solutions by DSI Development. Become the go-to company by visiting 5starrepmarketing.com. The number 5starrepmarketing.com. Kinja Dixon was crowned the #1 sales executive through hard work, deep thinking, and the revelation of Universal Talk Laws. He now wants to share these lessons with you. Universal Talk Laws are what you need to know and use in business and at home to have successful and effective conversations. Kinja Dixon shares his wisdom, action plans, and wealth. Each book comes with a chance to win $10,000. Find Universal Talk Laws at KinjaDixon.com.
Has your business been appified? Are you tired of doing marketing that doesn't deliver results? Mobile apps build loyalty and quality retention. Your app from UPG Mobile puts your business on their mind and at their fingertips. UPG Mobile will give you a custom app highlighting how you are unique, targeting your message, and improving your open rates. Appify your business and amplify your presence with your customers at upgmobilemarketinggroup.com.
Tired of presentations with no impact, no inspiration, and no traction? Do dull speakers have you and your team disengaged and distracted by smartphones? Christopher McAuliffe brings energy, insights, and 2 decades of experience, delivered with punch, humor, and heart. Your team will leave energized, uplifted, and with a sense of purpose. Visit ChristopherMcAuliffe.com to bring some heat to your next speaking engagement. McAuliffe. ChristopherMcAuliffe.com.
This is Bill Gruber with BizVid Communications, a Southern California video production leader. We've been honored to sponsor, produce, write, and host many of the fine programs on WS Radio over the years. So we understand how important the internet and your website exposure are. As video producers, we know the tricks and secrets to incorporate video to increase your search engine optimization and business success. Visit bizvidcommunications.com to see what we can do for you. BIZVID communications.com.
Welcome to Jackie's Groove. Come journey with us through the rhythm of the music business with your host, Jackie Bertoni.
sexy little shuffle groove there, brought to you by my good friend of mine, Terry Wollman. Terry, my brother, you are amazing. This is Jackie Bertoni. You're tuned into Jackie's Groove, and it's EnterTalkRadio.com, the Entertainment Insider and the leading voice of music talk, and also our brothers at Pitbull Audio, Calvin Lee, and PitbullAudio.com, where they simply want you to play it loud. And SIR, Studio Instrument Rentals itself, the greatest place to rehearse and get your backline of music at SIR-USA.com. And all of our sisters and brothers at Showslinger at Showslinger.com itself. And Terry, we can go on, we can talk for another 5 hours about all of your music and everything else, and we just don't have that time and the luxury at that. So all the listeners out there, please, this is just a small tidbit of what you've heard from Terry, and that's like telling somebody what steak tastes like if you've been eating peanut butter all your life. Go visit Terry's website, terry-wollman.com, and then jaunt on over to iTunes and go in and type TerryWollman, Terry Wollman, and just check out his amazing collection of music itself. Interesting, authentic, exciting, genuine, legendary, extraordinary, charismatic. There's not a word out there that really can bring you into Terry's groove itself, and we're really proud about that. And what we're also proud about is we just found out a couple segments ago that EnterTalk Radio is now approved on iPhone. So just go on iTunes. Yeah. Go to iTunes and type in on the applications EnterTalkRadio.com, and you'll be able to check out everything that we're doing and everything about Jackie's Groove. And then, again, if you're loving what you're listening to, please send me an email to Jackie@jackiesgroove.com. Give us your positive feedback. We definitely welcome that with open arms. And this is how we stay alive in this crazy business. And speaking of staying alive, somewhat of a quasi-segue, Terry, with the demise of 94.7 The Wave and a lot of these great smooth jazz or jazz-orientated stations, who now 94.7 The Wave is now considered one of the top urban stations in the radio biz itself. Now, in your opinion itself, I love how you changed the name from smooth jazz, because the adage is smooth jazz alive on, is it on life support? What's your feelings on this, since this is what you and how you've made your living?
Well, I think the whole music industry is on life support. So it's not limited to smooth jazz, contemporary jazz, pop, instrumental pop, whatever you want to call it, or whatever people decide to call it. I lean towards instrumental pop because I consider myself a pop musician, with a jazz background. But the whole thing's on life support, and I think that that those of us who have been independent artists for a long time are, apparently we're a step ahead of the curve, because now, that's for the most part, that's what's being independent is what's working for most artists right now, to whatever degree that is, and. I guess it forces us to continue as artists to live a creative life and figure out how to stay on our feet and how to keep being able to produce music. I don't want to stop just because people aren't buying. Because people don't buy the amount of records that they used to buy, doesn't make me want to stop making records.
It's a different world.
We just continue to find different ways of getting our music out there and supplementing it now by touring, or all the other things that we do. I produce records for a living. I do arrangements. I just started a few weeks ago teaching once a week arranging class at Cornell Contemporary School of Music, where Abraham Laboriel is on the staff, and I was invited to do that, and quite frankly, it's our time to teach. I mean, even in the same way that you're doing this show, it's really, at this point of our lives in the second half, it's not that we haven't done this and mentored and given back our whole lives, but it's we really have something to say right now. So. I look at that, being a guest artist, doing clinics, doing videos for the companies that I endorse. There's so many different ways to continue to get your music out there. So, is instrumental music, on life support? Yeah, I suppose it is, and so as much as any other part of pop music is these days. It's the wild, wild west, as my friend Mindy Hebert has told me. And
great saxophonist, of course.
Yeah, and there are musicians like herself that are out there, just doing it, just not looking at it in a limited way. And for me, that means, producing a session for a documentary with Dick Van Dyke, or music directing and playing guitar for a play, or doing duos with Melanie, instead of full band shows. A lot of people are scaling down. Even Melissa Manchester, who I work with, tours continually. But most of her shows are not full band performances anymore. She's got a scaled down show.
How's her leg,
very,
by
very
the way?
full.
How's her leg feeling?
Bless her heart. She's doing much, much better. She broke both of her ankles. This not that long ago, a few months back, and we ended up on stage. Her first performance back was when I played with her at the pageant of the Masters, and she was using a walker and crutches, and and everybody was so kind to her, and and I said, just take your time and don't fall. We can do an extended intro. Yeah, don't rush.
Overcoming artistic obstacles.
Yeah,
absolutely.
But she's healing up really well, and just walking carefully, and her physical therapy's been working out great.
Send her my best, please.
She's on the road again. I will. I absolutely will. I'm going to be seeing her this weekend.
Send her the link to for the archive of this. That should be up hopefully within the next 12 hours.
Sure.
Terry, I can't believe we're coming up. This is about the 2-minute mark right now. We're coming up to our last and final segment, and I just kind of want to blow smoke up my own the booty, for the lack of a better word. But I mean, this is so cool. I mean, Terry, it's flowing, and with all of my shows, all massive 4 shows behind me, but coming up on Jackie's Groove, I'm going to kind of throw the carrot out there, but. I've got the call out. I've got J.R. Robinson coming on. I've got Ndugu Chancellor coming on. I've got Jonathan Sugarfoot Moffat. These are all the thumbprints. I've got Michael Boddicker. I'm sure you know Michael really well also. We got our fingers crossed. We had, I said, Al Di Meola on last Wednesday. We've got our
he should get
feelers
Jerry
out.
Hay. Reach out to Jerry. Yeah,
absolutely, without questions. And we've got Mr. Carlos Santana on the realm. We got Mr. Unknown Gentleman by the name of Mr. Eddie Van Halen coming up. And also a dear friend of mine, Mr. John Stamos. So we're not going to be touching on musicians per se, but musicians that are actors that are musicians and vice versa. So there's so much. It's endless. We're so proud of what we're doing here itself. It's again bringing you, the listener, behind the the velvet rope. Can you let you hang out in the green room itself? And and Terry, again, I want to talk about the realness itself. We all have. We're all considered to be pretentious to a certain level. When you get to a certain, a certain echelon of music, and people don't realize the fact that the people that we're working for are the stars. We're the hired grunts itself, and I'm going to talk about. You're going to go back to the Food 101 itself. Let's talk about writers when we come back on the next segment. Then I also want to talk about everything that's got to do with Terry-Wollman. I want to talk about your gear, your sponsors, and what it takes to get your music out to the ears of the listening public itself. So gear up, Terry. We've got one more. I can go again. I can go another 5 hours if at all possible. But unfortunately, we can't. So we're going to say stay tuned. We've got one more segment coming up. You're listening to Jackie's Groove. This is Jackie Bertoni. I said Jackie Bertoni 1,000 times. Brought to you by EnterTalkRadio.com and your Entertainment Insider and the leading voice of music talk. So stay tuned. We'll get back with some more interesting facts and tidbits about Terry-Wollman and Jackie Bertoni and Jackie's Groove. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Are you serious about your music? Are you ready to run with the big dogs? The experts at Pitbull Audio have the gear to get you into the game. From leading manufacturers like Mesa Boogie, Fender, Pioneer, and American Audio. To sound your best, you need the best. Pitbull Audio can deliver in rehearsal, on stage, and into the big time. Dropping beats, shredding guitar, or making the crowd roar. Whatever you dream, Pitbull Audio can help make it happen. We are Pitbull Audio. We want you to play it loud. PitbullAudio.com.
On the internet, your business's reputation can be unjustly destroyed in an instant. Don't wait for that to happen. Building and marketing your 5-star reputation can increase your business by as much as 19%. Take control of your reputation and have the 5-star reputation you deserve with Reputation Marketing Solutions by DSI Development. Become the go-to company by visiting 5starrepmarketing.com. The number 5starrepmarketing.com.
I raised $8,000 to build schools for South African children. After realizing how many people go hungry in San Diego, I now volunteer at a food pantry.
I'm spending the next year doing volunteer projects across 3 countries and helping in ways they designate to be the most helpful.
The World Link program at the Joan B. Kroc Institute for Peace and Justice recognizes the potential of youth as agents of social change. Learn how you can help youth become a generation of leaders in action at peace.sandiego.edu.
Kenja Dixon was crowned the #1 sales executive through hard work, deep thinking, and the revelation of Universal Talk Laws. He now wants to share these lessons with you. Universal Talk Laws are what you need to know and use in business and at home to have successful and effective conversations. Kenja Dixon shares his wisdom, action plans, and wealth. Each book comes with a chance to win $10,000. Find Universal Talk Laws at kenjadixon.com.
I raised $8,000 to build schools for South African children. After realizing how many people go hungry in San Diego, I now volunteer at a food pantry.
I'm spending the next year doing volunteer projects across 3 countries and helping in ways they designate to be the most helpful.
The World Link program at the Joan B. Kroc Institute for Peace and Justice recognizes the potential of youth as agents of social change. Learn how you can help youth become a generation of leaders in action at peace.sandiego.edu.
Which sandwich is healthy and tasty? Which sandwich can come on bread or in a bowl? Which sandwich comes 51 different ways, so it's always your way? A which sandwich. Stop into our shop in Hazard Center. We're upstairs from the Hazard Center Digiplex. Bring in your movie ticket. We will add a free drink and chips to your sandwich order. Or order online at which.com and we will have it ready and waiting. WHICH, which.com.
Welcome to Jackie's Groove. Come journey with us through the rhythm of the music business with your host, Jackie Bertoni.
Welcome back to Jackie's Groove. This is Jackie Bertoni, and thanks for tuning in. We are brought to you by EnterTalkRadio.com. It's definitely your entertainment insider and the leader of music talk. Hey, I'm talking to my dear friend Terry-Wollman on the line. Terry, we're at the final segment number 8 in a 2-hour extravaganza.
Just flew by. I'm loving just talking with you. It's great.
Thank you, brother. And I love talking to you, man. I mean, this is like, you understand what I'm saying? This is a non-scripted situation. We're kind of winging it, and we're having a good time. And yeah. I want to, let's step back behind the velvet rope. Let's step back back in the green room. Let's step into Terry-Wollman's shoes. Terry's on a date. And let's say it's in front of 500 people, in front of 50,000 people. Mm-hmm. Bring us into your vibe. Bring us into your, let us walk in your shoes. What does Terry-Wollman do prior to his performance? Now, again, stepping back one more second on that. Does everybody knows, if they don't know what is called an artist writer, it's what we require, what we'd like to have backstage. Share with the people itself what is found in the backstage section in the green room for Terry-Wollman to eat, to drink, his favorites, his non-favorites. And does Terry-Wollman welcome guests before the show? Like most of us, we don't. And what are we doing right before those lights come up and they announce your name? Bring us back there. Let us feel what you're feeling before you're going on.
Yeah, before a show, I prefer not to be seeing guests. I'm happy to see them after. As a matter of fact, I love seeing them after. I consider it, part of my job as an artist, but it's a part of the job that I love. It's the connecting with the fans and friends and having an opportunity to express my gratitude to them and get to know them. So that's always been an easy part of the job for me, but not before a show. My job as a performer before a show is to be happy and healthy and focused, and to give the best show that I know how. So that includes, from the moment I get up in the morning. It's, I find it actually easier when I'm touring to do this. I don't know about you, Jackie, but when I'm playing local shows and at home, it's harder to
There's too much.
Yeah, you're still home taking care of handling business and taking out the garbage and washing the dishes and everything. Where when you're actually traveling and you're out on the road, as grueling as traveling has become, I still find it more relaxing because my only job when I'm on the road is to stay healthy and be happy, and that means going to the gym, eating well, practicing, warming up, handling my business, and then just going and having a great show. So I always try I don't try, I do. I make sure that I get exercise, some light weights. I practice martial arts. So I, when I can, I do. Right now I'm recovering from a concussion, so I've had to alter, my workout, but it doesn't stop me from walking and stretching and still being healthy. And along with that, what I want to see backstage is healthy food. Plenty of cool bottled waters and iced teas, and beer and wine is great. It's fun to have a drink after the show, and fresh fruit. And my diet is basically fish and vegetables, and I've been eating that way since I was 15. So it's kind of a non-big deal for me. It's just the way that I eat. So I always want to make sure that there's something healthy there for me to eat, because when you're touring, it's harder to make that happen. And people, and they're good intentions, but there's been many a time in many a tour where there's a bunch of cold cuts and ham and cheese and and white bread, and I end up not eating. But if that happens, I always carry nuts and protein bars, and I make sure I've got like a little along with extra guitar strings and batteries and sharp pencils and picks, and I make sure that there's some protein powder or something good that I can have that's not really a meal, but in a pinch, it's still going to be healthy and give me the calories that I need, to do a show. When I used to, like you had mentioned when we first met, when I was music directing the late night talk show, and I had done a talk show before Byron's show, which was a late show on Fox, and that was 5 days a week. And it was the first late night talk show I had music directed. I had to eat like an athlete and train for that, or I wouldn't have the energy to put the shows on. It's very, you're a drummer. It's very physical, and you need to maintain your health and focus. So those are the things that I do, and I make sure that I warm up. And just because I wrote the music doesn't mean I know the music.
Exactly.
Regarding playing it, people kind of forget, but they're two separate skills. Being a composer and being a player. So when I'm putting my shows together, especially when I'm first getting the show together, if I'm out on the road and doing the same thing all the time, then I just do some technical exercises to warm up. But otherwise, I'm running my tune.
Let's talk real quick. Let's talk about who you want to thank, who supports Terry-Wollman. And I'm talking about in the way of your endorsements and your sponsorships itself. Let's take the last 2.5 minutes of this, and let's talk about that and say thank you to that.
Great. I'd love to do that. First of all, The people that are the biggest part of Team Terry, starting with the love of my life, Melanie Taylor, for emotional and musical support. Also, Goroff Music. Jason and Cliff Goroff do all of my radio promo, and they are amazing people. They're incredible at what they do, and we've had such great success the last 5 or 6 years, I guess, since I put out the Buddha's Ear record. So, along with Jason and Cliff, Leanna Ringstad, who is my graphic designer and does all those beautiful album covers that you posted on your site, right. As well as my website. She's amazing regarding artistically and also marketing wise. And one of the things, by everybody, please go to my website and go there often, because it's always changing. It's organic. It's a living, breathing entity. But if you go back a week later, there's going to be some new things on there, and links to YouTube. I've been Barry Harris has been working with me on marketing and promotion. Peter Kelsey, I mix my records with. He's remarkable. Bernie Grunman does the mastering. But as far as gear, Taylor Guitars, I've been with them for a very, very long time for acoustic guitars. They're just remarkable. I love them. They really stand by their instruments and make sure that I'm not afraid to take a guitar out on the road and don't baby it. Just play it, and if something happens, they'll fix it.
God bless our sponsors.
Mesa Boogie amps. I know I've been with them since my very first tour with Billy Preston. I came back and the money that I made on the Billy Preston tour in 1981, I bought my first Mesa Boogie amp and ended up endorsing them, and they're incredible. They stand by me. Diodario strings,
perfect,
and Planet Waves. Their straps and accessories. Again, I've been with them for longer than I can remember. I don't remember when I first started working with them.
Terry, I've got to reel it in, brother. We're going to be running out of time here. But again, everybody visit terry-wollman.com. Everything about Terry Wollman. Visit Jackie's Groove and visit, please, EnterTalkRadio.com. Your entertainment insider and your leading voice of the music business. Everybody, please tune back in. Spread the word about Jackie's Groove. Spread the word about Terry Wollman. Let the industry know what we're doing. Let everybody know how much you love what you heard. How could you not? And again, we thank you so much for everything itself. Terry, thank you very much. Kisses and love to everybody. God bless health. And
thank you.
Please tune back in this coming Monday to Jackie's Groove. This is Jackie Bertoni, and as I sign off, I always say, peace through music. God bless.
Are you serious about your music? Are you ready to run with the big dogs? The experts at Pitbull Audio have the gear to get you into the game. From leading manufacturers like Mesa Boogie, Fender, Pioneer, and American Audio. To sound your best, you need the best. Pitbull Audio can deliver in rehearsal, on stage, and into the big time. Dropping beats, shredding guitar, or making the crowd roar. Whatever you dream, Pitbull Audio can help make it happen. We are Pitbull Audio. We want you to play it loud. PitbullAudio.com.
Hey, it's Catherine from Listen Local Radio. Moe's Guitars has proudly served the San Diego music community since 1975. Specializing in guitars, basses, mandolins, banjos, and ukuleles, they buy, sell, trade, and consign. If you're looking for lessons, repairs, accessories, and cool gear, you found the right place. Located in downtown La Mesa Village, stop by and check out their digs or visit moesguitars.com or their Facebook page. mozeguitars.com, 619-698-1185.
Take a break from politics. Tune in and learn something. WS Radio shows are worth your time and are filled with tips and advice. Add us to your lunch routine, and we'll give you a meal for your mind.
The richness of your life is reflected in the shimmering elegance found at Diolune Design. One-of-a-kind jewelry and pieces from Cynthia Dillon in silver and gold help to express your unique personality. The flowing designs of her creations will empower the way you move throughout your day. Join us online at DIOLUNdesigns.com.
Do you want to be a professional coach? Are you in business trying to make a real difference with people you manage or work with? Have you started a coaching practice that isn't quite getting off the ground? Get the skills you need to be a successful coach today with the Coaches Training Program from Accomplishment Coaching. The Coaches Training Program will show you how to help others focus and be more fulfilled. Whether you want to improve your company's bottom line or create a thriving coaching practice, Accomplishment Coaching can give you the distinctions and practices you need to coach others effectively today. Accomplishment Coaching has spent 6 years developing a cutting-edge coaches training program that will have you ready to coach people professionally in just 12 months, and you don't have to take time off work to do it. To find out more about the Coaches Training Program, just call 1-888-548-6813. That's 1-888-548-6813.
Hi, this is Rob Barnett, VinVillage.com, where wine lovers connect. Be sure to tune in weekly to Vin Village Radio for exclusive, in-depth interviews with the who's who in wine and food.